as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome back to Marbella Now. My name is Nicole King, and it's a pleasure once again to be interviewing really interesting people in our community and taking you out and about with my camera to see some of the amazing places that Marbella has to offer. We are so much better together. It is more than ever time to support one another. Please, if you're going out and about, remember to make your ZeroHeros the star places. If you're the designated driver, you get free soft drinks at the collaborating businesses, and that includes the Kempinski Bayer Hotel and the Boardwalk, the Harbour, Playwrights, the Art Cafe, La Red Chiringuito, El Gaucho Banús. The list goes on. Go to www.zerohero.es and check those out. And now let's check out a new book by one of our local lads. It sounds absolutely fascinating. Let's get started. I'm delighted to welcome to the program for the first time Gerry Hagan. He is a local hero of Marbella. I've seen him at the Burns night in the Hogan stand with his kilt, looking very cool. And of course, being Rachel Garrett's other half, Dr. Rachel Garrett, no less. We've bumped into each other. But Gerry, welcome to the program. I have to say, I really know nothing about you except that, and you've just written a book.
Thank you, Nicole. What else do you want to know?
So much. Just give me a few minutes.
Well, I'm a doctor too, a retired doctor. So after retirement, you know how everyone says, "Oh, I've got a book in me." Well, I decided to go ahead and try and do one. So I've done it.
And do you think lockdown was fundamental in helping you get that finished? Because doing something, as you say, and thinking about it are quite different things.
Well, yeah, I'd finished the book before lockdown, but hadn't get around to making the next step of actually getting it published. So lockdown was helpful because you're sitting at home all day, and it's published on Amazon, and going through all the tricky bits of Amazon to get it published. That wouldn't have happened probably without lockdown, and probably still sitting upstairs in the study.
Because there is obviously, it's not just writing the book, as you say, then you have to put it together. And even if you've got the ability nowadays of making our own books, doing it online, the procedure obviously requires a lot of time.
Yeah, and you don't understand everything that they're asking for, and you need everything from an international book number to all your tax details, because it's got to go through the Spanish tax authorities. But anyway, that's all the boring stuff. You want me to tell you about the book?
I do, but it's I think the book is just the title in itself, and reading the back cover introduction, and knowing you being a doctor yourself, I find it curious how from coming from the standard medical field, you now find yourself hypothesizing into all these different realms of the future. I kind of find it an interesting mix.
Well, it's about, to some respects, the drive to do it was really telling a story from my great-grandchildren or their great-grandchildren, because over the decades that I've lived, the pace of technology has gone so fast, and this is looking toward the future. And the theme of the book is, just because we can do science and engineering, that's not enough. You need to think philosophically as well. What will it do to humankind? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So the book is based upon people in a couple of 100 years' time. Technology advanced hugely. What are the complications of that? For example, people can now live to 200 or 300, but that's complicated in itself, because a 200-year-old man can maybe remember his 100-year-old self, but he won't remember himself as a child. But not only that, your children, great-grandchildren, everybody, you all look the same age, and that's complicated itself. And then, what's your motive for keeping living? People might say, what's the point? Then another thing, the main theme of the book, I call it deep downloading. The University of Oxford, their Institute of the Future of Humanity, I've just discovered after publishing a book, they call it something else. They call it's a simulated sim. But they think, and this is the theme of the book, in the future, you can download your mind into a cloud and become conscious in that cloud and connect with other people in the cloud. And once you can do that, you can live in this, and I call it imagination city, where everybody can, whatever you imagine, you can do. But that's great, it's fun, but what's your sense of purpose? And how will the rest of humanity react to it? For example, you're now virtually immortal. So especially for Western religions, religion depends upon death. Supposing you've removed death, what will that do? So there's a political side to it as well. President Rossini is the president of the World League, but it's still fundamentalist states out there, and they object to this because they call it soul stealing. Now, President Rossini is an interesting character. I wrote him a long time ago before I heard of Donald Trump. Actually, everything Donald Trump does says is exactly like Rossini, and Rossini is going to think, people are going to think I'm based on Donald Trump. I assure you, it's nothing to do with Donald Trump. I'd heard of Trump Towers, and that was it. So, so there's politics involved, religion's involved, philosophy's involved. I don't want to give away too much for the book, but it's for a book. You would call it science fiction, but it's a science fiction book for people who don't do science fiction, I would say. And some of the people who have read the book and enjoyed it said they've never read a science fiction book in their life.
Well, I have to say that when I saw the book, Mia Thaw, The Future Whispers, when we got together and recently, and when I read the introduction, it didn't sound to me like a science fiction book. I understand that through Amazon you have to choose a category, but I found it far more like an investigative, thoughtful research of, again, going back to what you said, just because we can doesn't mean to say we should. And I think
Exactly.
there's a lot of fear in the world with people with logical brains of just because we can, why are they? We shouldn't be messing, perhaps, with certain aspects of our physical and psychological.
Well, the part of the clue is in the title. The title, Maya Thaw, is an anagram of what am I? And the book is meant to make you think, what am I? You know, if you do this, do that. And the hero is a guy called Kenny, but by the end of the book, there are 4 different Kennys. The heroine, he's from Glasgow. The heroine is Siobhan. She's from Australia, and the characters are from around the world. But that's one of the problems of writing a book. You keep having to write down all the characters and what they do, because when you come back to them about 5 chapters later, you've got to remember who did this and who did that. And also, because there's different Kennys at the end, I've got to remember that Kenny doesn't know what that Kenny knows. And I have to keep the story coherent.
It sounds like I'm not going to ask her. I don't want to either give too much away about the book, but why there are so many Kennys. But obviously this is a book that you have thought a lot about, because it goes from aliens, Neanderthals, to this technology, the surreal worlds and virtual worlds that we can be living in. It embraces actually many of the movies that are out there, but in an intriguing concept with all these characters.
Yeah, and I get new scientists, and every month something crops up like, oh, that's what I was thinking in the book. I didn't know it would actually happen. Like, okay. I mean, the things I've written in the book, I'm sure they won't all happen, but they could. And if they did happen, what would it do to us as humans, and how would we react to it? If you think when Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web, did you imagine we'd be doing this call right now? I mean, look at the problems Facebook and Twitter have with people trolling and hate, etc. That wasn't envisaged. Once upon a time, we thought if everybody had huge access to information, it would improve the world. Well, as a joke was, well, it wasn't that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously there are always the yin yang, the two sides to everything. It's up to us to find that balance, that medium. Another thing you said, which I think is very key, is having a purpose. We talk about this a lot on my show. In fact, with Jorge Mansour via Anantara via Piaviano again, for our children, whether it's for work, having a purpose in life. What is the purpose of life? What is your conclusion, Gerry?
Well, in the book, the people in the Imagination City do find a purpose. And I don't want to give too much away, but ever since a little boy, I've wanted to travel in space and travel to the stars. But from a medical point of view, even just getting to Mars is a huge medical risk. How are we ever going to get to the stars? And so in the book, I find a way around that without giving stuff away again. But this is a story. It's beginning to sound a bit like polemic. It's a story. You can read a story and just enjoy the story without taking any of this in. But people take in some part, and other people take in other parts. And other people say it's a very good read. Like everything, I would like to improve stuff after I've done it. You're never satisfied with whatever you do. But going back to the point about purpose, the ancient Greeks said there was a difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is something you can get, but happiness only comes through striving and achieving. And if everything's laid on a plate in a couple of 100 years' time, where are you going to get a sense of achievement from? That's the kind of things I'm thinking of when I say, what am I? Why am I here? What am I? Because everything we see in here, it's not actually real. It's just your brain interpreting the light signals at the back of your eye, the hearing, the smell. These are all brain interpretations. And I've just had a newborn grandson, and he's busy trying to work out what all these signals mean. He doesn't really understand them. But eventually your brain does. But then if you could have another brain somewhere else and you'd be in two places at once, that would be intriguing. And according to the University of Oxford, it's not if, but when this will happen. Now, if it does happen, that's going to be really a huge step forward for mankind. But how will we handle it? How will we deal with it?
Certainly thought-provoking, certainly worth a read. It's a nice, light, easy read, but it does make you think. Maya Thaw, Future Whispers by Gerry Hagan, available on Amazon, Kindle, anywhere else? Can we get it?
TRE website, and the Hogan stand on Friday the 17th at 7 o'clock. I'm going to do a book signing. If you buy the book there, not only will I sign it, but I'll be able to get it to you much cheaper than Amazon, sell it to you.
Oh, that's nice. I don't think you'll be publishing that. Will you also be doing a reading as well as a signing?
That's at the back of my mind, but it depends how noisy the Hogan stand is on a Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Well, I look forward to that. We'll see you there. Congratulations, Gerry. It's a really good read. And as I say, it's good to make, if people only get intrigued by one of the concepts you bring up, you've already done a good job opening people's minds.
There's a few more in there as well. There's lots of surprises. But thanks for having me, Nicole. That was great. Lovely to be on the show.
The book signing. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, Nicole. Bye.
Judy likes to consider herself a clever young woman, which is why she thought very carefully before choosing her insurance company. Now that she needs it, she's jolly glad she chose Linear Director, as it looks as if she might have something better to do. Why don't you be clever, like Judy? Call Linear Director on 952 14 78 34 and see which policy is best for you.
When I'm the designated driver, I think it's only fair that I get to choose a ZeroHero venue that rewards me with free soft drinks. My friends all get to choose and booze, and they feel safe going home with me. Make sure that you get your reward for being the designated driver. Why pay if you don't have to?
I am so excited. We're here at the Boardwalk, which is actually our very first ZeroHero venue. Bruno's going to demonstrate how to use the disposable breathalyzer so that if you're the designated driver, you'll know what to do. Hello, Bruno.
Hello.
Thank you for being our guinea pig. So, if you would like to take the breathalyzer in from the box, open the box.
Let it set you on your way. No time to hesitate. We are all the same. So much trouble tearing us apart.
The instructions are in there, but to make it easier, I'm going to explain it to you. If you take the white bag and blow it up.
Just believe it's worth your time. One.
Okay, now put that down on the table, and now you take the tube, break off the white side of the tube, the little top at the end, and empty out the crystals. Oh, yep, empty out the crystals, and now do the same with the other side, with the red side.
One.
And
Yep, empty out the crystals, and now put the white side into the nozzle on the white bag. Now place the bag on the table and gently squeeze the air out of the bag. Oh, put the bag on the table and squeeze the air out. Now, if you've been drinking, the alcohol content in your breath would register. If Bruno hasn't been drinking, the nozzle will stay yellow, and yellow means no alcohol. Green is a no-go. But if you're the designated driver here at the boardwalk, and after dinner, you show you haven't been drinking, your designated driver's drinks are for free. Now that's another incentive to come to the boardwalk.
yes, of course.
Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you. Bye.
If you've got a business and you would like to get involved with this project, I'm still looking for a name. At the moment, it's our self-sufficient circular support system. But if you have a business and you would like to get involved, offering opportunities for our local kids to get involved, do apprenticeships, internships, please do let us know. We have not only the vulnerable children, the orphans from Malaga, joining us as of the middle of this month in our community to embrace them, but also take this opportunity to make those same opportunities for our local kids. Great schools, great infrastructure, but what are their futures here? Most of them have to leave, and we don't want that to happen. Also, remember, if you're going out and about, we have ZeroHero partners that include the Cladder, the Hogan stand, nice Irish pub type atmosphere for you to go and have those great pub meals. And then also we have La Red, Kempinski by a Hotel, the Guadalpine Banús, and of course the boardwalk, the harbour, the playwrights, the list goes on. So please go to zerohero.es for full listing of partners. Bars, restaurants, you're also welcome to join in. Let us know if you'd like to be a part of this incentive. Positive reinforcement for safer roads in our wonderful city. Okay, let's move on.
One.